and high in the saddle, nothing else matters. My feet in the stirrups, I'm so happy. There's nothing like the sound of Carolina hoofbeats.
Hi, we're here this afternoon with Deja Cogdell, and Deja lives in Dunn, North Carolina. And Deja's a barrel racer, and she's really burning the circuit up. But she's also a pretty special kid too, so I thought you guys would enjoy getting to know Deja a little better. So Deja, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. So tell me a little bit about what makes you tick. What is it that drives you to barrel race?
Just the adrenaline whenever you're getting ready to go in the arena, whenever they call you, the butterflies that you get in your stomach, and while you're running, it's just an amazing feeling, really. It's fun. It's really family oriented. I get to hang out with my friends and
Right.
So.
Okay. And when you go to do a barrel race, how do you plan mentally to go?
Well, I can't really plan mentally because I don't know what's going to happen at the barrel race, but I always get ready to, have fun and get my horse warmed up correctly and get her comfortable, really.
Right.
To get her comfortable with the situation that she's in and get me comfortable with basically the arena, get us familiar with the arena is on my mind before I go to the arena.
Okay. And what kind of things at different arenas make it a good barrel race versus a bad barrel race?
It all really depends on the horse that you're riding. Like with my horse Day, she likes the rodeo ground, which is the kind of not really bad ground, but worse than normal ground. She likes to run on top of the ground instead of in it.
Right.
So, and she likes short patterns. She doesn't really like the big patterns. So it really all depends on how they set it up that way or who's dragging and stuff like that.
So when you go to an arena, the pattern's based on the size of the arena? Is that how it works?
Sometimes, like at Lumberton, the weekend before last, they did it short, and then this weekend they did it long.
Right.
So it really all depends on who's putting on the show and stuff. So.
Okay. And when you are getting geared up to go to a barrel race, do you watch other barrel racers and see how the ground's feeling or the mistakes they're making, or do you just depend on your instincts and your savvy to make it work?
I watch the other barrel racers, and I also exhibition. During my exhibition, I learned where to put my horse and how to turn her, how to rate her, and stuff like that. I watch the other barrel racers to get an idea on how the ground is, but I also take my horse in there before I run to see how the ground is myself.
And how do you determine how many exhibition runs you're going to need?
I only do one because with my horse Day, but with other horses, they might need more. Like with my 3-year-old, she would need like 3 or 4. But with Day, she only needs one.
Because she's just ready to go when you get there. Okay. And I know that you've been working with a trainer, so tell me a little bit about what that's like.
It's fun because she makes it fun. It's a lot of work also, and I've got to have my attention ready because she's not going to say it twice. Right. But it's a lot of fun because I'm learning stuff, and that's what I want to do. But I don't want to like break horses to ride. I want to fix problemed horses, like with horses that have problems. That's what I want to do.
In the barrel racing field or in general?
Just in general.
Okay.
So, like with Day, she's teaching me how to jump because she used to be a jumper, and stuff like that. And I get kind of an idea of what I need to fix with stuff. Like with that horse right there, she has a problem with barrel racing. like her back end, she doesn't use it enough. Like with horses, sometimes you need to get them to sit down to turn the barrel instead of running around it, because running around it actually deducts time.
Right.
So.
And how do you teach them to do that?
Basically just backing them up. Sometimes if your horse knows how to rein, it'll go better like that. But also not just working on the barrels, but like taking them on a trail ride, getting them to go down hills and using their butt, stuff like that.
So you build up those back end muscles to make them stronger. Okay. Okay. And when you're training a horse that has problems, do you ride them other than at the barrel race, or are you just doing them at the barrel race?
It all really depends on who's...
Because I know at Tom Harvey's barrel race, you were helping a little girl with a white horse there.
Yeah, that's the only time I've ever actually sat on that white horse. It all really depends on if I know the people really well and if they live close and stuff like that. Like with one of my friends' horses, I've actually brought them here for a while and worked them. But that was only a trail horse, and that was to bomb-proof her, to get her to not be as scared of stuff. So that I did that. But with like barrel horses, I haven't actually gotten one here that I've needed to help with. I've always rode them at the show, and that was actually the first horse that anybody's actually wanted me to help them with.
Right. Well, you did a good job, because it was night and day difference with your ride and with the little girl that was riding him. So, so obviously you know what you're doing there.
If you're interested in a career working with horses, then Martin Community College is the place for you. MCC's Equine Technology program is the only one offered among North Carolina's 58 community colleges. The program is management-oriented with classes in breeding, nutrition, training, riding, equine health, and more. Graduates can leave MCC prepared to work in recreational and racing barns, breed to discipline-oriented farms, or assistant farm management. For more information, contact Martin Community College today.
You've worked hard and carefully planned your career. You've built your business. Shouldn't your farm's appearance reflect who you are, your success? Like a timeless work of art to be your legacy, handed down through your generations. Let T&T Lawn Care design, install, and maintain a landscape to reflect who you've become. With our uncompromising attention to detail, we deliver high value in a competitive market. Call T&T Lawn Care today, 336-574-0410.
So tell me, when you're looking at other barrel racers, who is it that's caught your eye and become your idol and that you're learning things from?
Well, people around here like Tanner Shelton, Tia Owen, and like we were talking about before, my trainer, Randall Carter, she's actually helped me a lot, and I like to watch her, how she works with the horse, how she moves with the horse. Basically, I like to do that with everybody.
Right.
And I've learned a lot from everybody, and I still have a lot to learn, but everybody around me has really helped me, like my farrier, John. He's helped me a lot.
So when you're doing barrel racing, it's so different than a lot of the other show things that folks do. So how much do riding skills come into play? You know, do you have to have good horsemanship? Do you have to worry about the right leads? How does all that stuff play into barrel racing?
You have to make sure your horse is on the right lead going to the barrel, or it'll throw the horse and you off. You have to keep your seat going around the barrel, or you could potentially be on the ground because you'd get popped out of the saddle. Whenever you stop, your feet need to be forward so that way you have a good seat. And actually where I learned to keep my seat was actually I took jumping lessons for a while. So that helped me a lot with my balance and keeping my seat. And just things around me, like I ride bareback a lot. Like I ride bareback more than I ride in a saddle.
Right.
So that helps me a lot.
Okay, very good. So how many horses do you keep to barrel race with?
I keep my horse Day Day, of course. Then my sister has her horse Sassy, and every once in a while I'll get on Sassy and barrel race her and Day Day. So I basically have 2 horses that I'm mainly barrel racing right now, but I'm actually, Randall Carter, like I spoke before, she's helping me train my 3-year-old right now to get her ready for charity races, actually.
Okay.
So.
And when you're looking for a prospect in a barrel horse, what do you look for?
You want them to be, well, really, you can't really look for something. You just want him to be sound, because every horse is different. You can have one that will run the barrel pattern perfectly. You can have one that's hyper whenever it's young, and then whenever it gets older, it's too lazy to run the barrel pattern. But really, you need to look for something that's sound, something that's going to be easy to learn, that's a quick learner, something. And it wouldn't hurt to take a vet with you to go look at a horse if you're going to look at one, just to make sure that he's sound all the way around. It wouldn't hurt to take your trainer, so that way she can ride him or he can ride him, so that way he can see if it'll be a potential barrel horse.
Do you pretty much look for quarter horses?
You can look for really any horse. A lot of people use thoroughbreds off of the track.
Really? To barrel race? That's interesting.
Because they're fast. They cover a lot of ground, like Brandy, the horse that's over there, she's a thoroughbred, quarter horse. My 3-year-old, she's a thoroughbred quarter horse. Day-Day, she's just full thoroughbred. Sassy, she's just full thoroughbred. So they use a lot of different breeds of horses, but not usually like gaited horses, like walking horses, just because they can't really do stuff like that. But they use reining horses, cutting horses, stuff like that.
So when you're looking for a barrel horse, would you look for something that was real broke, or would you look for something that was real hot?
You would want something, it all really depends on what you can handle. If you can handle a hot horse, you wouldn't necessarily want like a calmer horse, but if a hot horse is fast and it's easy to ride and it's just hyper, that's it, then you would want that one. Not necessarily because it's hot, but because it's a good runner and that's what it wants to do. But for like kids, I would go for the broker ones that also want to do it, because you don't want to force a horse to do something that it doesn't want to. But that would be necessarily, it all really depends on the rider.
Okay. I hope you've enjoyed spending time with Deja as much as I do. And Deja's going to be a regular writer for our magazine, so her first article is in, and I want to hear some feedback from you, and I'm looking forward to all of the future stories. Okay? Thanks for spending some time with me.
Thank you.
My name is Scott Brookins, and I am the owner of Brookins Construction and MD Barn Master of the Carolinas. At MD Barn Master, we have the best warranty in the business. We have a variety of designs to choose from. Our barns are easily customizable to meet your needs. We have financing available to those who qualify. Our barns are fire resistant and they hold their value with little maintenance. Let us build your dream barn for you today.
Fixing to bring up something the Horse Council asked me to talk about. They have a great concern in general about these really cheap all-stock feeds that are being sold on the market. But there are a group of people that look at the cheapest thing they can feed their animal. And on that tag, most of them say, this is all stock feed. It's for cattle, it's for horses, it's for goats, it's for sheep. Y'all think that's nutritionally balanced for all those animals? The first thing that should get your mind, if you know anything about nutrition, is if they profess that it's good for sheep, it's not good for anything else, because sheep can't have any copper in their diet. So first of all, your horse is going to look terrible. His haircut's going to be terrible. His immune system's going to be down. He's going to be subclinical. I want you tell them what subclinical means.
Almost sick, but not showing the signs.
That means you're a day away from the vet. There are a lot of horses in the state of North Carolina that are a day away from the vet. So what we have learned and what the horse council is trying to get people to understand is, if you see a feed out there that is labeled for sheep, should you be feeding it to your horse? That's an educational point that is to be made tonight. You're just going to see it on TV. If it's labeled for a horse, it's for a horse. Feed companies will back that up. But if it's got sheep on the label, you need to think twice about it. The next point is this. A good farrier is worth his weight in gold for something other than shooting your horse. He sees everybody's horses. He sees your hoof quality. And if he cares about you and your horses, he'll tell you if you're not hitting the mark on the feed. Does anybody in here disagree with that? The veterinarian, if you can slow him down enough, to do the same thing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. But the point is this. Find you a buddy that you can trust to walk on your farm once every month or two and evaluate your animals. And you learn to do the same thing with them. Because when you look at your animals every day, you're not going to see the difference because you're seeing them every day. I'll give you an example with goats so you'll understand this. Y'all know what a boar goat is? Yeah. What color are boar goats? Black and white, red. They're deep red and white. I actually had a guy bought a bag of my premium goat feed, took it home to his wife. She fed her goat. I saw him a month later. I said, how did the goat feed do? Well, my wife told me never to buy any of that feed again. I said, why? She said, the goat changed colors. The goat went from a light brown and gray off white to snow white and rich red. She did not know that that's what the goat was supposed to look like. I know we can laugh about it, but again, it's about getting it right. So I'm suggesting, I don't care if you buy it from Neutrina, from us, if you're buying the dollar bottle feed, the cheapest feed, the reason it's the cheapest is a reason. I would advise you to step up a line. Now here's what I found with people that buy the cheapest feed. They're the ones who will run to a tack store and buy a $50 5-pound container of hoof supplement. And then they'll go buy a $25 bag of oils to make the haircut look good. You add up how much money you're spending in a month buying cheap feed and expensive supplements. You're better off doing what Debbie Crocker did. Go ahead and get it right to start with. We talk about subclinical problems. What do you run in when you see stuff like this?
Well, I want to touch on something else with subclinical. I've had this discussion with a lot of different horse owners when we talk about going from you buying the cheapest feed that they can find because they're like, hey man, we're on a budget, economic crunches, and that's a reality. And we're not, as a veterinarian, I come on, I want the best health for your horse, but I'm saying don't break your checkbook out, don't kill it. But if you will look at what the horse needs on a per pound basis, most of the time you're balanced. I feed Mill City Feed. I'm an M1 fan for my horses. It's a 10-10. But if you break it down by the pound, and how many pounds that horse is supposed to eat, it's way cheaper. So the bag feed may cost $13 or $16 or $20. But as he did his example of feeding 2 bags of something that's less expensive, but it takes 2 to 3 times the amount of feed to get the same nutritional quality out for the horse, it's cheaper in the long run than buy the more expensive bag of feed.
We're going to answer a few of these questions. Can you talk about amino acid needs? Okay. Let me explain to you what protein is first, the way I understand it when I was taught in college. We always use the term on the feed bag, crude protein. What's the most important word there? Crude. You can grind up leather shoes and get protein. The question is it digestible? Okay, first of all, let's talk about horses over 3 years old that are out in the pasture. Forget the protein. It's not important. If you're feeding a 14 or 16% feed to a horse that is in pasture or sitting in a stall 7 days a week and he's not doing anything, excuse my English, but I better not say that. All you're doing is creating a stench in the stall. You're creating a lot of urea, and it's not doing the horse any good. A horse that rests, that's an adult, that's not doing any reproduction, not being run hard, if you're doing anything over 10%, you're probably wasting your money. The few proteins that do come into play so far as amino acids on adult horses, if you're having hoof problems or hair coat problems, sometimes you need to add some sulfur type proteins to it. And an example is DL-methionine. Old timers, guys been around for 30 years. Y'all ever given a sulfur block to a horse? Yellow sulfur block? That yellow sulfur block, that horse, the bacteria in his body actually was able to turn that into the DL-methionine, and it makes their hair shed in the springtime. People would buy a sulfur block once in the springtime, their hair would shed out, and that's the purpose behind that. As far as the adult horse sitting around doing anything, it's no big deal. Now, let's talk about mares and babies. The standard for years and years and years was 16% protein, and bean meal, it was the best solution for getting that protein. We have found that by adding man-made amino acids, we can drop that back down as low as 12%. It may cost a little bit more, but you don't have any inefficiencies with other proteins being available. Now, cut the camera off and go to them and do advertisement. I have got a product called M2. The best way to explain it is a knockoff of Kentucky Derby racehorse feed. I'm telling you it's a knockoff because if I made it just like they gave me the formula, it would cost $4 more a bag and you would not buy it. I would get somebody to buy it, but I wouldn't be able to sell what I do. M2 is the perfect feed for mares and babies, any horse that's under 2 years old. It is beet pulp, oats, barley. We use racehorse vitamins and minerals in it, and I've never had anybody come back and say it doesn't do the job. What supplements would I recommend? Okay, would you ever recommend adding to a balanced diet? Okay, this is from Connie Pope. All right, thank you, Connie. These are good questions. Again, a good friend that sees your animal once every 2 months will key you if you need to do something different. Where's Connie at?
In the middle.
All right, I'm going to give you a lifetime example. I'm going to assume that you've been my customer your whole life. You've got a horse that was born when you were born. They're getting older. No, you're not that old. My point is, the life cycle changes, and at some point in time, you may need supplements. A horse that's over 3 years old, almost any standard horse feed will do it unless you're doing something special. Again, you need to stay away from the cheap byproduct feeds that are labeled for sheep. At some point in time, whether it's 15 years old or 25 years old or even 30 years old, you may need to upgrade your feed to a super feed or add a supplement. Here's the problem. I'm not meaning to pick on tack shops, but this is the way it's going to come out. You walk into a tack shop, there may be 20 supplements in there. Those are laser supplements. When I say laser supplements, it's for the hoof, it's for the joint, it's for this. It's not a systemic supplement. So what I would suggest is a supplement that will cover everything as they get older. And the product that we sell is called Turning Point. You might want to write down what I'm about to tell you. There is a product on the internet called Dominator C. It is sold out of Wisconsin. It is marketed in Kentucky. Half the Kentucky Derby field every year, that's what they use. A 30-pound, 25-pound container costs $80. We sell it as Turning Point. There isn't a dime difference in it for half the price. You feed a horse anywhere from 2 to 8 ounces a day of this, and it is balanced from one end to the other, nothing missing. And I found horses that if the feed doesn't cut it when they get old, then we start adding that to it. I'm going to tell you a story because I can't tell you who it is. It's a story, but it's the truth. I have a customer that I nicknamed the Spook. Okay, don't laugh. Y'all heard of the CIA? Well, this is a lady that I call the Spook. Sometimes she will disappear for 6 months at a time. She leaves college students looking after her horses. She feeds 1 pound per horse per day. She knew what to tell me to do to match the pasture for them to eat 1 pound per day. And a college student can do that because they got the right size coffee equipment.
That's right.
And we have tested the feed. She comes back 6 months later from wherever she's been, and her horses are in perfect shape. The feed cost her $900 a ton. If she had been using all stock, it would have cost her $3,000 for the same surface, and the students would have had to call the vet 3 times. I'm not exaggerating. Now, that's an example. Marilyn, you've used a turning point hat, the supplement. That's what supplement we use in the feed.
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is, if you want to look up something on the internet, you see that Dominator seed, if you go pulling and Googling and researching, you'll find out that's what Kentucky Derby horses are using. You can buy it from me for half the price. It's in a white plain bag. And but that if you're going to buy a supplement out there that you want to add to, that you think, if the farrier, Mr. Parker over here, comes to you and says, hey, you got some shoddy feed, you need to do something about it, give Turning Point and some vegetable oil 6 months, add it to their diet. You can do it easily by buying a higher quality feed, do the same thing. In 6 months, you won't recognize your horse.
Hello, I'm David King with 5K Arena. This is my wife, Ivy King. We put on sorting, pennings, and cuttings. I'm going to let my wife talk to you about the type of feed we use from Mule City Feed.
We called Paul up with Mule City Specialty Feeds about 5 years ago. He was absolutely wonderful to work with. We had a need to fill because our commercial feed had just gotten higher and higher and our feed bill was through the roof. He helped us mix a feed that was exactly what we were looking for. Our horses have stayed fat and shiny, had plenty of energy without losing their minds, and we couldn't be happier.
Sitting high in the saddle, nothing else matters. My feet in the stirrups, I'm so happy. There's nothing like the sound